and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad that you could keep our appointment. Tonight's guest, Dr. Jacquilen Foster Tomas Ali, will discuss embracing the times of our lives. We will delve into the reality of past lives, soul groups, the impact of unconditional love, and more.
That's me.
Dr. Ali studied to become a Doctor of Naturopathy, certified Master Herbalist, certified Nutritional Counselor, and certified BodyTalk Access Practitioner and Trainer. She is a board member of the BodyTalk MidAtlantic Association. Dr. Ali's studies also included herbology, homeopathy, kinesiology, and reflexology. Dr. Ali lives her life as a naturopath with the understanding that the body can heal itself of just about anything if cleared of toxins and if given proper nutrients, rest, healthy mental outlook, and natural support. As a naturopath, Dr. Ali collaborates with her clients to identify the causes of their health challenges and teaches them how to support the body in its healing process. Dr. Ali is honored to tailor alternative medicine techniques that focus on igniting the natural healing abilities of the body, empowering us with true health and well-being, just as nature intended. Folks, I am so happy to present to you for the first time on this platform one of my new besties, Dr. Jacquilen Foster Tomas Ali, Doctor of Naturopathy. Let's welcome her to Office Hours with Dr. G.
Hi.
I know. Yeah, that's me. One more rock, Doc.
Yes.
Dr. G.
Oh, I love your intro music.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how we do it over here. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that share, subscribe if you haven't. Welcome, Dr. Ali, to Office Hours with Dr. G. That rhymes.
Thank you.
That rhymes. I am so pleased to have you here tonight and to introduce you to my crew. I call them my crew. They stick with me through thick and thin. They don't like everything I do and everything, but they good for the most part. So when I meet someone who is I think is fantastic. Hey, Sister Blissing. When I meet someone that I feel is fantastic, my natural inclination is got to get them on the show so that somebody else can benefit from the knowledge and the information that my guest is bringing. And even though, I don't know if they caught the subject matter of the subject for tonight is embracing the times with an S of our lives with an S. And I didn't say anything about that in your bio about anything like that, but you are very gifted, even though, you do a lot of energy work and so forth. There's some other things that are going on. So before we get into that and the times of our lives and what we mean by that, I would love it if you would just give us a little bit of background from your own, just off the cuff about who Dr. Ali is.
First of all, I am honored. Thank you. I am so honored and grateful for being here, for being asked to share. And I'm excited. I'm like a little kid in the amusement park, just ready to get on the rides and all that good stuff. I am just truly grateful. One of the key things that I learned throughout my life is that our life does not travel in a straight line, that it has turns and ups and downs and curves. And many times we don't know what's going to happen next, what's going to be the next step, but it's going through it with faith and unconditional love, knowing that we are taken care of, even though we may not know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but know that we are, and that we that it happens.
Right, right, right.
So yeah.
So, how did you get into your line, the profession, that the path that, well, we kind of know based on the fact that we'll talk about plans that we make, but how did you in this earth realm, that's what I'm going to say, get involved in body talk, energy work, and the
And all of that.
natural
Okay.
healing,
All
naturopath?
right. In terms of life not traveling in a straight line, was a classroom teacher, and my intention was to, and I taught elementary school, fifth and sixth grade, students with special needs. And my intention was to teach that and do that for the rest of my life, 30, 35 years, whatever the time frame, retire, collect a pension, Social Security, ride off into the sunset. But that's not what happened. After 20 years, I got this gut message that says it's time to go. And I'm like, what do you mean go? I'm not going anywhere. Go where? And the message was consistent. And I even took a sabbatical so that I could help sort it out. But it did not make a difference. The message was consistent and persistent. And in me hearing that, and getting it, I said, all right, I'll do it. But I'm telling you, I was scared, because I'm like, look, I got a mortgage, I got this, I got that, da, 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 da. So my next step then was to, I got to get a job. So I knew someone who was part of an employment agency, and I reached out to them and gave my resume and all of that. So they matched me with a project involving customer service with a pharmaceutical company. And at that point in my life, I was already a vegetarian, I was into herbs, but I didn't care because the pay was what I needed to handle what I needed to do.
Mhm.
So I said, look, I'll do it. So I became a part of the pharmaceutical industry, customer service, so that when patients or doctors or pharmacies or anybody would call, the team would have the information to share with them. During that time, and I'm not going to mention the pharmaceutical company
First,
because it is very well known. I'll
nope.
just say that it is very, very well known. At that time, um, pharmaceutical companies, when they take over another company, it's not a friendly merger. It's a takeover. They move folk out, get this one in, get their folk in, and so forth. So in the second year of me being in that position in customer service, there was a takeover of that pharmaceutical company where they took over another company. And so, there's the talk about, oh, uh, um, uh, uh, they're going to lay us off and all that. And I'm like, you know what? They lay us off, I will collect unemployment and then I'll get something else. So after they had all of their reorganizations, then they interviewed each person in the customer service department, and they had our resume in front of them, and they went through the interview process. And so after they did my interview, I went back to my seat, and of course my colleagues were saying, well, what happened, da, 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 da. I said, you know what, it was just an interview. So it took them about 3 weeks or so to interview everyone. And then after everyone was interviewed, then they called me back in. And I'm saying to myself, okay, this is it. This is where they're going to say that they're going to lay me off, and so forth. And So they called me in and they said, what we would like you to do is to set up a training program for folks who are on the phone so that the information coming down from research and development and other departments would have an easy flow and the correct information would be disseminated. And I'm like, what? And then I said, yeah, but I said, I'm vegetarian. I'm in the herbs. Oh, we don't care. We look at your resume and we see that you have the background in teaching, you have the education, you got the degree. We believe and know that you can do this. So I said, well, you know what? I have got to meditate, pray over this. I'll get back to you in a day or so. And as I was leaving, Spirit said to me, now you know that's your next step, but it's your choice. So I let a couple of days go by and then I went back and let them know, yes, I will handle it. And the information that came down through research and development, that some of it I had to filter out to know what to share with the phone staff, the phone team, and some that's really truly confidential. And I at that time I didn't know. I could tell something was something, but now in retrospect, I see that some of what I received and realized that I received it by mistake, although it really was not a mistake, um, has an impact on how things are today.
Ah.
And I'm like, okay. But at that time, I didn't know. So then I was in pharmaceuticals for 10 years. And then after 10 years, got that gut, it's time to go. And at that point, I wasn't too alarmed by it. And I had a friend who was in the healthcare field as an administrator and was told that they could use, that they had a position that they really wanted me to be a part of. And so I went from pharmaceutical to the healthcare field as an administrator. And I'm glad I was an administrator because this way I could see the practices of healthcare. And although I had some interaction with patient care, most of it was policies and procedures that were going on. And at that time, uh, sure, I was in that field for about, I guess, about maybe 7 years or so. And during that time was when I got the call within me that I need to study um, holistic health, naturopathy, and so forth. And it wasn't really, I wasn't resistant to it. It really just felt natural for me to do it. It was a lot of stinking work. And because not only was it the coursework, which was 7 years of coursework, um, and me, my personality, I took those courses and merged them into 5 years. And at that time, there was no online stuff. You had to go to the location of where the classes were held. And, so it was really very much in person. And I was able to use my family as my case studies because my parents and my husband all had health challenges that I could utilize and incorporate what I was learning. And then, as things turned out, my position in the healthcare field was eliminated. But what Spirit was saying to me, it is now time for you to set up your own practice. And because I learned so many different things, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I can't do everything because it was like 7 years of stuff. I can't do it all. So I said, let me think about what people really need and then go from there. So I focused on nutrition because I knew folks could benefit from having plans that will help them build themselves nutritionally, and then herbs for those who wanted to use herbs, or for those who wanted to merge from pharmaceuticals to herbs, or how to do them safely at the same time, because there is a way to do that. But then I got another wake up about energy medicine and was introduced to the BodyTalk system, and it just resonated, and it just took me to where I am today. And I love it because it helped me to understand that we are more than this physical body, that we are energy beings. We use this physical body to navigate this earth plane because that's the laws that are in place here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the end all and the be all. That's why when folks transition, they leave everything here, because when we go home, we don't need anything that's here.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's my story.
Okay. That's a good segue. That's an excellent segue. I mean, we're going to get back into, body talk and energy work, because we
Yeah,
both do
whatever.
work. You've
Yeah.
been doing it for how long have you been in the natural health business? I mean, this profession.
Wow. I would say since 2007, 2009,
Okay.
roughly in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a practice to um right now. You continue to have a
Yes.
practice, which
I
is
have a yes, I
in
do.
Philadelphia. So if anybody
Yes.
is in the I guess the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware area, Dr. Ali is in Pennsylvania, which is very close to me, which is that I'm excited about.
All right. Yes.
But I'm going to segue back to
Sure.
when you talked about how we don't take anything with us, because I titled this session, this segment, embracing the times, and I almost said your life, and then you said no, our. It was, you corrected me, our lives, our, not life, but our lives. So it's not an individual thing when you think in terms of energy, and but it's we are one mass, if you will.
Yes.
So can you talk about that from that standpoint?
Okay. Okay. The physical body gives us the illusion that we are separate because it is a separate physical entity. But we're not separate, because I'm sure not many people, you, me, many of us have met someone and have our energies connected, or they were like, ew, I don't want to, ew, or walked into a room where there were folks and you're like, what the world is? It's because the energy of us is it goes out all the time. And it's up to us to do our best to have our frequencies as close to unconditional love as possible. But because of the human experience, there are going to be times when the emotions that are not necessarily reflection of love will be a part of it, because that's how we process things in this life, that we process it through our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences. That's just how it works.
I'm having this visual. You know how sometimes I'm trying to make a visual connection, although I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm trying to
Yes.
make a visual connection of the fact that we're all one, but we take on, these containers, vessels, whatever we call bodies. And it's almost like um you just look at a mass of everything. You just a mass, and then you have these little forms that grip over spaces in the everything, and as if it's a separate, but it never is not a part of everything. It just has something that is containing it, but still keeping it within the field of
Yes.
everything else. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. That's an excellent, excellent analogy. Yes. And many times we get caught up in thinking and believing and feeling that this is real because it's tangible and that I'm the only one and no one else and blah, 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 because of the container. But that's part of I guess the rules of the frequency of this earth plane, of this energy plane.
So let's talk a little bit about other planes. Because if you say of this plane, that suggests that this is not the only plane. And
Oh, yeah.
we have been ingrained with a fear of an inevitable um, action or an inevitable step that everyone has to take in one's life, and that is to transition or to die, as we or to and I had someone today speak to me because my father just transitioned on the 5th of February, and I had someone say to me just today. He said, "Oh, I heard about your loss," and I said, "I didn't lose." I said, "I appreciate it." I said, "But I didn't lose anything." I mean,
Good,
anyway,
good.
yeah, I corrected them to say, because I do not, yes, it was painful, but I do not
Yeah.
see it as a loss. Now I see it as a gain, because, because speaking of when you're talking about your folks, which I'm gonna have you talk about, now that's just one more uh, folk, if you will, to add to the others. And some, I mean,
Yes,
all are not ancestors, but some are, the helpers that come along and so forth. But I look
yes,
at it not as a loss. I look at it as a gain, because now the container has broken off, and the expanse of who my father is now, and you hear me, I didn't say was, is
is,
is
yes,
is it's more ever present and ever and able to assist
yes,
and guide me.
yes,
So we've had
yes.
in these last couple of years so many transitions, so many transitions. I
Hmm.
mean, right, left. You're hearing about it, right, left, and I think there needs to be a message to those that are still in this realm about what those how to handle that, so that you don't get stuck in a grief cycle. Can you talk about that?
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Okay. And I'm pausing and saying, okay, because what I'm doing internally is I'm calling on my folks to help me, help me say the best, help me to share and respond in the best way that answers your question, but also responds and helps those who are either listening in or will listen in at a certain point. When no one ever wakes up dead. No one ever wakes up dead. So it's not like one day, oh my God, I'm dead. No, we're told, we know well in advance. It's just quite often, many times, we don't have folks that we can talk to about it because of certain fears, certain belief systems, and so forth. So we just kind of keep it to ourselves. And many times, based on our own personal belief systems, how we're processing it to know what to do, where to do, how to go, and so forth. But a person, when they've reached that point of its time, they know. They may not know the exact moment where someone will say, oh, it's going to happen 3:02 p.m. Eastern time, because that's something we created on this side. But they know that it's a process. They're in that process. And I was fortunate and blessed to be able to experience that process firsthand with my husband in terms of his transitional process, where he explained to me everything. Now, I had an idea of what it was like based on my meditations and what I've read and so forth, but he was actually able to tell me what he felt, what he saw, and I was able to experience it. And it was a very interesting experience because it was part of me wanted to know, but then there was another part of me that was trying to balance out that my partner, my mate, is leaving. But it happened because there was something within him that knew he could share it with me openly without me being afraid, that I could ask questions, and he did. And then once he did transition, he stayed with me for a while, for a period of time, so that I could handle the human emotional piece of adjusting to not having my physical mate with me, that I needed to uh, um, not get into, you go through your whatever your mourning process is, but not to stay there as if
Right.
they're gone to hell and all of that. No, no, they've just stepped over to the other side, just walked over, and he stayed with me for a period of time. I don't quite remember exactly how long, until one day he told me, he says, look, I've got to go because I've got to go to my review. And I said, okay. And I was his second wife. His first wife transitioned long before I met him. So when he went for his review, he sent her in to be with me so that I would be able to make that adjustment. And so I was grateful for that. And then once once the adjustment for me was okay, then I said, you can either stay, go, do whatever you want to do.
Was that
So
to her or to him?
to her.
Oh, yeah. So
Um,
I'm sure that there are probably some going, who, what? He said what? He was going and he, yeah. You and I had the
yeah,
conversation.
you gotta, yeah,
Yeah.
because
We had
yeah,
the
we can
conversation.
go back. We can go back.
Yeah. We had this
Yeah.
conversation. So I know, what you
Hmm.
said, like you literally, you said for whatever that period of time, you felt him lying next to you,
Yes.
bed. You
Yes.
felt it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, his, it wasn't a figment of your imagination.
No.
And so, and then his communication with you, I guess, was more on a spiritual, what
More like
spiritual, mental,
telepathic.
telepathic level, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
telepathically. And so when he said, I've got to go for my review, you felt, but I'm going to, it's almost like the story of, Jesus, Yeshua, when he says, I'm going, but I'm going to send you a comforter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to keep, I know you're not ready necessarily yet to, for me to be gone. So I'm just going to send somebody else who, and which to me, to send your ex-wife speaks to the fact that there's no giving, a
Yes.
taking of marriage in heaven, and that we have bonds, soul groups that we play different roles,
Yes.
right? So these
Yes.
are roles, these earthly roles are different than our, etheric roles in that realm.
Yes.
So for him
Yes.
to, let's go back. So he was going for his review. What's that about?
Um, from what he explained and shared, and I'm telling it from a human perspective. So if someone else has a different understanding, I'm willing to listen to it, but I'm just sharing from what he shared with me, in that it's like going to symbolically going to a movie theater and sitting down and watching the review of your life in a movie format to see what you did, what you learned, what you didn't do, and not so much for the judgment piece, but for the piece of, okay, so I learned that, I understand that, I can maybe help this one, that one, those kinds of things that may be included in the person's decision as to whether they want to stay over there, come back here, or go somewhere else.
Somewhere else? Are there other places to go?
Of course. This ain't it. And I'm so grateful that this ain't it. Yes. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say and remember it all at that this is this, because one of the things that when we come here, the frequency of this earth plane keeps us in a certain range. And therefore, it's to keep us in the range so that we can focus on um, why we came, our mission and purpose, and not allow ourselves too much to get distracted, but to stay on stay on point, stay on mission, and but still have an awareness of other realms. You know what? See, ain't there's so many. There are so many life forms. So many. So many. When we come here, no one forces us to come. No one says you got to go there and that you got to go and to this parent to have them be your mother and father. No, no, no. We make those choices. We choose that. We decide what we want to experience, learn, and so forth. And we develop what I affectionately call our blueprint, and we then energetically are given help as to who we can come through to help them, help us, so forth. And know that it is an agreement. There's no forcing because we are all part of free will. So there's no forcing, there's an agreement. It's just that the agreement is made on a spiritual energy level. And sometimes folks remember, but a lot of times we don't because we're in a certain energy frequency in terms of science and physics.
Okay. So that's what, and a lot of times, we have discussions about going behind or beyond the veil, or the veil in the temple is rent.
Mm-hmm.
This body has its own veil,
Yeah.
where we're kept from knowing some things that I call them from remembering the things that we knew. Because
Yes.
we
Yes.
knew things
Yes.
at some point when we are making those life plans. And I had
Yes.
I did an interview with a sister some years ago when I had my blog talk radio show, and she is she does tarot and some different things, and I remember her saying that she remembers she was going through having like anxiety or some types of issues, that eventually she had an out of body experience. And in this out of body experience, she saw all of her antagonists, and she was amongst them, and they were doing a review of everything that had occurred between them, and they were slapping each other, including her, on the back and saying, "Oh, you really played that part." No, but when you did that, in other words, they were reviewing the performance, and she realized at that point that these things were not being done to her as if she, either she deserved it, or without her permission, or without her knowledge.
Exactly.
She had forgotten until she was able in the vision to see all of them, and they were all together, including her, looking at the things and making, so a lot of times, we look at the people in our lives, and this person, I can't stand them, they get on my nerves, or I love this one, or whatever the things we go through, not realizing that the script has been written or kind of mapped out. It probably has some parameters within it that allows some flexibility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But because I've even heard that we come here, and I don't know if you've ever heard that, with 5 exit strategies. I don't know why it's
It's
5, but
it's possible. I'm not
right.
saying no, that ain't it. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
possible.
and so even over my life, I've been able to look back sometimes and go, I could see where that could have taken me out, and I
Mm-hmm.
just barely, if we look over our lives, we look back, if we have any any age on us at all, you look back over your life, when that you just missed having a head-on collision, when that crazy fool almost killed you, said he was going to, and some reason stopped, different things that have happened, when you almost left the stove on and different things that could have taken you out. And I know when you and I were speaking, we were talking about something. You were like, I told you just said, look, I'm just when I'm ready, when it's time for me to go. It's just we all gotta go. I hope I wrote something down or planned something that was like going to sleep, or you said watching your TV or doing something, but not you hope that you plan something that is a smooth transition.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
even if you didn't, it is I believe that the transition from what we call life into afterlife would be very swift. It's just, how did you go through the door? Did you float through the door? Did you walk, or did you get pushed in by a battering
Mm-hmm.
ram? But you still got to the other side, and when you get on the other side, now you're part of the all again.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't take
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
pain. That's why even
Yes.
in my life, my sister, who had a near death experience, said she didn't feel any. She did feel, because her decision to come back was based on the fact that she felt that we would not be able to handle her death.
Exactly. And
And we
that's why a
with
lot of
her,
times people don't talk about when they get those signs that their transition is imminent, that they don't feel comfortable knowing that they can talk about it freely with family, friends, or whatever the case may be,
yeah.
because of fear or no, 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 any number of things that could be the side effects of it.
So we basically fear the loss of, or the pain of, and we dread causing pain, and all kinds of, like you said, people who feel like they can't go on without their loved one. We don't want that to happen, but most people say that over there, you don't care about coming back. You don't you don't care about the folks that you left behind, but you don't care because explain how there's a different, how it's a different realm with a different
Different
physiology, a different environment,
frequency.
the frequency. So the frequency is
Yes,
so different that it is not, human perspectives are for here, 3D Earth, right?
yes,
And
yes,
that's what we don't get. We think that
yes.
this is how it is everywhere.
No, and it takes certain life experiences here to help us remember. And there's no one way that fits for everyone. There are many, many different ways of learning it, experiencing it, getting it, whatever the case may be. But yeah, and because when you look at being here versus being in an environment of unconditional love, I mean, come on, come on.
Right?
Let me, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go
Let,
ahead.
let me share something that I had, an experience that I had. I believe I think it was in 2019, prior to the, um,
What we're in.
all of the COVID and all of that. And I went through this period of going through this rant where I was like, I'm tired of these humans. They get on my freaking nerves. I'm sick of them. I'm tired of these folk. They just get on my nerves. I'm not coming back here. I'm not coming back. Now, I didn't rant in front of others. I ranted to myself. But I went through the rant and I would go through it for a few days and then I would calm down. And then I would rant back up and I'm not coming back here. They get on my freaking nerves. then I would calm down. And I went through that cycle, I would say, from the human time frame, I would say at least a couple of months, until I got a serious wake up message to say, pay attention. I got this thing in my gut. And, normally, not normally, but most of the time when I'm hearing feedback from my folks, they will, they may share it with me in dream time. They may give me an indication in my heart chakra, uh, just to feel it through someone else. There's so many ways. But this particular time was very unique. I'd gone through this rant of up and down and up and down. And then I got this thing in my gut that told me, in so many words, pay attention. And I heard them say, like I'm hearing your voice, they said to me, you did not decide to come here from a human perspective. Therefore, you cannot decide not to come here from a human perspective. Wait until the best time and you will make the best decision. And I'm like, all right. And the energy behind what they said, not just the words, but the energy was like a mother who's stepping to you, but stepping to you with love, but still stepping to you. And that's the energy that was behind that. And it didn't mean that after that I was like, oh, okay. No, folks still got on my nerves, especially once we got into the the virus and behaviors and the fears and all of that. And that helped to settle me. And every now and then I have to play that back so that I don't allow myself to get caught up.
Well, the ICMW asked, do we choose to come here? I strongly believe I was sent here.
No, we choose. It may have been recommended, but we have to agree, because one of the key laws is free will. No one on this side or the other side can make us do anything unless we agree to it on some level. Sometimes we are agreeing and we don't know what the next steps are or what the outcome may be, but there has to be an agreement. They cannot override our free will. Absolutely cannot. We agree. It's just from the human perspective, it's like, why the heck did I decide to do this?
Right. But most people, I don't even think, have that perspective of the choice that they made.
Mm-hmm.
They think they were random. An egg and a sperm got together and they're here. But I even heard something, whether it's true, recently, that says the spirit, if you will, of the soul of the being doesn't even enter in until it says, how they have a question about whether when a baby is alive. But I've heard that the soul of the being doesn't enter in initially. And then I heard another thing about, I don't know whether I was talking to you or whether I heard this somewhere else, but it was something about abortions. No, miscarriages. They said miscarriages are those who decide to cancel their contract.
Either cancel their contract, or they only wanted to experience so much, just this amount, whatever that time frame may be, and they're like, okay, I'm done, I'm gone.
Yeah, like my daughter was here for 7 weeks and was perfectly healthy and then gone. You know what I mean? So, to know, but I firmly believe, I don't even question. I firmly believe that the same soul that was my daughter 3 years later came back as my granddaughter.
Maybe she did. It might be. It very well could be and may be. because she got what she needed in that experience to know how to take that and then use it in another scenario.
And
So yeah.
the interesting thing about my granddaughter is that my granddaughter was advanced for her age,
Uh-huh.
when very advanced. And so she ended up, when she finally went to kindergarten, they said, she didn't like kindergarten, and they talked to her, and she said that she said that the other children antagonized her, and that she didn't want to be there. And by the time they tested her, they said she doesn't belong in this grade. They put her in the first grade, you
Uh-huh.
know. And so she's always been a superwoman, go getter, beautiful young lady. But like you would, don't mess with her because
Yeah. Yeah.
she'll knock your block off. I mean, yesterday we were going to take things to her, and she moved her 2 sofas out of her second floor apartment by herself.
Wow.
From the
Go
second
ahead,
floor,
girl.
and the stuff is out on the lawn. So but what I'm saying, I firmly believe that my daughter, and because that's how she just like exited and came back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
said, I think I'll choose a different experience,
Yeah. I'll come in it from a different way.
but I'll stay in the
It's like,
soul group, but staying in that same.
yes. It's like I'm in Philadelphia and I want to go to Washington, D.C. How do I go? Do I take 95? Yes. But I can also take Route 1. Yes. I can also drive. I could take a bus. I could take
You can
a
fly.
bike. I could take a train. Is any way right or wrong, better? No. It all gets us to where we want to go.
Right, right. And so I think, yeah, we don't get those who have grown up in a Christian experience that normally would not get that perspective, because the preaching and the teaching is, I call it the one and done syndrome. You got one life. You need to do what you have to do it right, or you have a place for you.
But yes and no, it really depends on what that person, what that individual is seeking. Because my mother was secretary of her church. My father was a deacon of her church, of his church. And so you talk about being raised in it. I was knee deep in it, knee deep in it. But there was a part where I still had that connection and willingness to have that connection and not shut it down with the other side.
Mhm.
And it really helped to take and incorporate that understanding of people who go through those experiences, what their understanding is, and then use it to help me. And then I in turn will then have different teachings in different ways, so that it's not, there's no one end all be all. That's the key. That's the key.
Well, yeah, I realize that, and but like I said, those who are going through in say this particular life, or have fears
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. One of the things I like to try to instill on those that will listen, because everybody can't take the level of the truth, or the truth of who we are. They would rather believe, what's been traditionally taught
Yeah,
through
it's
religion.
comfortable.
But you want to be able to give people comfort, because the fear that has been, like you said, over the last 2 years, there's been a lot of fear. There's been a lot of folks have left here. True.
Yes,
Um, I,
yes.
I was speaking to a dear friend today who said, I did, this because I had 20 friends that I know who left because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm not one who, my faith and my belief and what I came in, I'm a rebel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I'm a rebel, and I'm never going to just acquiesce to things that my gut, like you said, I'm trying to determine who my folks are, because you know who your folks are. But I believe my folks have told me, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
other things too. But we talk about in our gut or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear audible instructions, or do you just kind of have a knowing?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So there's no one way for me. It's whichever way, depending upon the nature of the message. And know that every last single individual that is on this earth plane, every last one, without exception, has their own folks that are helping them in achieving or processing whatever their reasons, their goals are, based on why they came here.
So how can one discover and begin to work with their folks, and who are their folks?
They have to want to do it. They have to ask. And there's no special way to say it. It's just, I want to get to know my folks. I want to get to know if I have folks. And because by asking, you're giving permission for them to share with you certain things that they would not share otherwise. Because one thing that they will not do is violate free will, but they also will not do anything that's going to instill any level of fear or anxiety or anything. That's something that we do ourselves, but not something that they emphasize or encourage. So many times it's just asking, and there's no special way, from my understanding, there's no special way to ask. It may follow up where that person may need to do some meditations or some classes or whatever the case may be, you know, but asking helps and makes the difference. And they will receive whatever response and feedback they need to receive that's for them, not for anyone else. So the way it was for me, what may be different for someone else, and that's okay. It's really not a cookie cutter experience. It's really very unique. But a lot of times it just ask.
When you say ask, are you recommending that maybe one will take up meditation, or is this just imploring from one's heart, saying, "Listen, you're out. If you're there, I want to know you. I want you to be more a, a, a parent in my life. I don't want to say real, but just be more. I want to know you're there. I want to know that you when I call on you, or when you have something to say to me, I want you to know that I'm willing to listen, and I need your guidance, or
Yes,
I'm
and
going through."
yes, and yes. Yes. All of what you just said. Yes. Yes.
So there's like, ask and you shall receive. In other words,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's like they're standing on the sidelines in another realm, but enough to touch us. Going, just ask us. You know,
Hmm. And the reason why is because they made a promise that they will assist us throughout this whole process. They gave their word that they would assist us, but they also understand that in giving the word, that they just can't jump in and we're gonna. No, it has to be a partnership, a team where there's a give and take, receive, and so forth.
do you feel that there's ever an end to the all that creates the various incarnations and various realms, or planets or galaxies or wherever it is we exist? Or do you feel that this is, you know world without end, so to speak, that we
Yeah.
just continue to be? Because some people, I used to go through, years and years ago, my thought was, I don't want to be here forever. But I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
about when I used to say that back then. Maybe it was because innately something in me knew there was another place
Mm-hmm.
where I would be happier, or other places
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't. Because I used to say that, like, no, I don't. I, how people are like, I don't want to die, but like, I don't want to be here forever.
Child, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more the more I learn about the theater that we're living in, and all of
Yes.
that, the stuff that's, the illusion, and the
Great analogies.
yeah,
Yes.
look, yeah, the less I'm like, who wants to be here? You know,
Yeah.
you want to be, and I have no death wish, but who you want to be where, um the like you said, it's getting back to that love, because everything, unconditional love, everything here, not everything, but a lot of what happens here on this plane, it seems to be designed to pit one against the other, be it
That's right.
by gender, be it by race, whatever your
Yeah.
orientation is, whatever your political ideologies are, whatever. It's always a polarity of opposites, and it's a fight. It seems like
Mm-hmm.
everything is a fight. Like, I came to the fight, like they send people out to that, here they have those fights, and they do bare knuckle fighting to the death, or cockfights, rooster fights. Like, coming here,
Uh-huh.
like coming to a cockfight, to the
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
death. We just don't.
Uh-huh.
We know we can't get out of here alive, but there are lately I've heard, folks saying that they have found a way to ascend to higher dimensions of reality, where they are getting out alive. They come back in, they flow in and out of it. What are your feelings with
Yes.
regard to that?
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting you're saying that, because in fact, I had a client the other day who was in a coma. And while in that coma, he experienced so much. And when he came back here, no one wanted to hear what he had to say. They thought it was crazy, and but there was one friend of his who um, understood, because he knew there was more to this than what meets the eye. And he was able to have a conversation with him, so that he could then be open enough to have a body talk session with me, so that I could explain certain things where he was, and also help him make a stronger connection. But I did it only because he asked for it, and there was an agreement from his folks that said, yes, we can do that. There has to be an agreement. There
Oh,
cannot be.
when you say his folks, now you're talking about his spirit guides, and that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
with that, can you explain a little bit more when about body talk, because that, I do a different kind of energy work, but you're
Mm-hmm.
you're trained to actually, you said, work with the body and hear what the body is saying, and then help the body heal, be it, I guess, is it physical and or emotional?
Mental, environmental, whatever the case may be. And but know that the modality that I use, body talk, does not supersede or is better than any other, because it's as I shared earlier about getting from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. There's more than one way to do it.
Right.
So in doing body talk, I use, excuse me, kinesiology or muscle testing to connect with the energy of that person. And I have like a flow chart that helps me keep things organized, so that I'm not scattered all over the place. And it's such that it helps me to keep my ego out of it. I'm not guessing, I'm not diagnosing. I have to study from time to time to know if I have this that comes up, what do I do next? If I have that comes up, what do I do next? And then have it flow from there, have it go from there.
Well, that's in, energy is, to me, the hidden energy medicine, energy work is the hidden hidden key to what could actually turn so many different situations around. But the problem, not a problem of it, but the problem for those who practice, allopathic medicine, psychiatry, those types of things, that's a problem for them, pharmaceuticals, because if we were to deal with each other or look at each other's so-called issues from an energetic standpoint, you correct frequencies, and then you correct what's out of balance.
What I learned being in the pharmaceutical industry and in the healthcare field is that it's business.
Yeah.
It's business. It's personal because it's happening to us personally, but it's really from the framework of business, in that they really want you to stay as a customer. They want to keep you as a customer.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, in order to keep you as a customer, their focus has to be in a certain way where you find yourself wanting and needing to come back again and again and again, because that's the nature of it. And I tell people, don't put them down, because I look, there are certain things that they do that I find is necessary in terms of, for example, have a doctor where you can get blood work done to know what's going on, because it's providing information that you may not know.
Right.
And it's whether it's blood work, whether it's a test, be it a mammogram or a CAT scan or whatever, is providing information. But what follows up, what happens after that, it is purely your decision. And they cannot do anything unless you agree to it. Absolutely cannot do anything. And they're very convincing. I give them that point, that they are convincing to where a person really truly, for whatever reason, believes that if they don't do X, Y, and Z, that they're going to have certain ramifications. And in essence, it's kind of true, because if a person believes that they're going to have that, then that's what's going to happen, because
That
they're creating the scenario for that to take place.
that is so true. I mean, I did an energy scan Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
whatever the weekend. I think it was Sunday, and
Mm-hmm.
for the individual, and it was interesting because you're talking about tests that will give you those things, and there's literally technology that will educate you. And we don't cure or diagnose. We don't
Excuse
cure.
my
You know,
facial
that's all
expression,
right.
but I had
We educate you about what's going on with their
yes.
body. And in this particular situation with this individual who was a senior citizen, they the things that came up, and I always confer with my client, like, if there's anything that I say, or that it says that you don't agree with, then please say so. Or
Mm-hmm.
also, a disclaimer is, this is saying what someone with your energetic patterns and frequencies, this is what it would indicate, does not necessarily mean that that's you, or it does not mean that it's now. Sometimes it's something that's in a memory of a frequency of something that happened a long time ago, or something that you've been in contact with, that
Yes.
and it's picking it up, because we're all one.
Yes.
We start to pick up the various frequencies and so forth. of others, or there are
Oh
things that
yeah.
have the same kinds of, energetic output. But
All the time. All the
consistently what
time.
kept coming up for this individual was proper hydration of the body, um, parasites, exercise, sleep. I mean, there was a bunch of different. We were looking at, circulatory system, lymphatic system. We were looking at the various different systems. This is going on. This is the chemical, or what is it? This is what's going on. Then this is what it's doing to you emotionally. Your emotions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or your emotions are causing this, because sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
the emotion, the energy in motion, that causes a certain frequency to occur in a part of the body.
Yes.
So you get the
Yes.
mind right, and the body, they used to say, free your mind and you will follow. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times there's truth to that, because
Yes. Yes.
and so it kept saying, things is up such and such from the past, and the same things. And she said to me, that is true. Now I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, I didn't know these things, but her energetic signature and her frequency and so forth, and she's like over 80. She
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's exactly right, she said. She was
Mm-hmm.
so taken with what came out with all this. She's like, I need my two sons want one too. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, the things that we need to know. Technology has got us to a place where it's not
Yes.
non-invasively, like yourself, you can read it. Going through that, I can do it through an AO scan, or they could do it through some other systems that they have, because they have other things that are out there. But once you get that, it's what do you do with the education? And a lot, that's it, because you need, then you have choices. You know what I mean? And I remember you and I thinking
Yes.
about your husband. When your husband got his diagnosis, his choice was not to go through traditional means of treatment.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
He
And
got a red.
so, yeah, and that was before I was even a naturopath, and we worked and experimented and messed around and played with different modalities just to see what was going to happen. And it really it gave him 7 years, and then he reached a point where he says, okay, I'm ready. And
And he was ready
he
when
was
he
ready.
was ready. Yeah,
Yes.
he was ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that's the choices, like I said. So I think one of the things is getting the fear of a natural process out of our collective, you know, body,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. So get to the place. I'm watching you, and I'm going, I see her. This is the first time I've interviewed someone, and I literally see your aura.
Oh, nice.
I'm serious. And
Okay.
it's interesting because one of the things I see strong is your heart chakra. I can see the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. I'm looking. I'm like, is it the lighting or what? I see this aura around my center, which is I've never seen. I've never seen. I've seen an aura. Sometimes I'm like, I'm trying to look, but I literally see the rainbow aura.
Now, I'm looking to see now, where is it? Is it there? But you know what? If you see it, that's
Literally
then
see it,
fine.
which is
Yeah.
a wonderful indication. I wonder. I remember one time when Ampu was here and he did an event for me, brother Ampu, and he had a machine that read your auras, and
Mm-hmm.
you sat down and you put your hands, or something happened. Anyway, my heart chakra was like that the aura for heart was like, he said 70%. It was like
Wow.
way out there, and I was like, oh, I mean, probably shrunk now over the years. Things happen to you, just
No,
but
it doesn't shrink. It goes into balance.
yeah.
It goes into balance because it's a matter of balancing it with the other chakras so
Mm-hmm.
that um, if we can have a, I'm hearing a multi-pronged approach to our life.
And how does one begin to increase the frequencies of for their own, not only for their own peace and well-being, but for that of those that they connect with and interact with? What kinds of things can be done? Ask them. What can we do to raise our frequency? I think that's what it is, because we need to all raise at the same time or to the same extent until so we can get to that critical mass.
We're doing it now. We are doing it now. It's just not necessarily in a formalized way, but I can't tell you the number of people who are changing jobs, leaving one career to go into another because that resonates more with who they are and what they are. That's part of it. Making nutritional changes, that's part of it. Being able to have free, open conversations with folks without judgment, even though one may disagree or differ, that's okay. That's part of it. Meditation, exercise, drinking plenty of water. You know, it's a
That
it's a multi-pronged approach, and it's all in alignment. It has to be in alignment with their purpose and their mission for coming here in the first place.
well, a lot of us, I mentioned it very briefly when we were talking about
Mm.
we're trying to get our freedom. We're trying to get people want to get their nationality and birthright in order, and they want to be acknowledged and respected for who we really are. Get land back, get reparations, get this, get that. But and but kind of negates everything that happened before that. However, from a spiritual aspect, not as many of us are making that change, because I somehow, I don't know, do you feel, you were nationalized more too, so do you feel that knowing or getting acknowledged, if you will, by something that is deceptively in charge and in control is as important as knowing who one is on a spiritual sort of on a etheric level, on the higher level? Is where
that
should
might be that might be the step that the person, or the process that the person needs to go through in order to go to that next level.
but they we have to know. I was thinking about it, and I could be wrong, but when we come
No.
back and forth in here, we come sometimes in different genders, different
Mm, parts of the
nationalities,
planet,
planet, and all that. So
yeah.
it's kind of hard, to in this earth. It's one thing here, but when we leave here, that gets left behind too. There is
No,
no.
it does not.
It
Because
doesn't work.
remember, I was sharing with you earlier how we go through a review.
Right. I mean, when I say behind, when we reincarnate in
Hmm.
another, we don't necessarily take that whatever we were before into that the soul of who we are. But do we take that too?
It depends on what we want, what our focus is, what our vision is, what our intention and purpose is.
So the plan that we set ourselves in each case, so nobody is forced to come,
That's right.
right? So everybody makes a choice, and
That's
not
right.
only do they make a choice to come here, we make a choice not to come, to
Yes.
stay where we are in that realm of the all, or to go into some other dimensional frequency, planet, galaxy, whatever.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So for those
Yeah.
who think that, those who start talking about galactic this and that, and people think that they're a space cadet or something, are they possibly having soul memories of other lifetimes that they've experienced?
Absolutely. It's sure. Why not? Yes. 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 And it may not be a memory, mental head memory, but more of a heart soul memory that's that is a sense of familiarity that they then incorporate into their lifestyle, into what they do.
So, okay. So soul groups. Our soul groups, like I said, the sister saw her soul group, remember, and they were reviewing and laughing, all of them, including her, over the part that they had played in that lifetime, which brought her to what happened when she realized that it gave her a different sense of perspective over what was going on. And so she was no longer seeing herself as the victim. Because that's what before that out of body experience, she felt like she was being victimized. And
Yes.
there are a lot of folks that feel like they are victimized. But if they could
Yes.
only see the plan
Yeah.
that they made, the script that they wrote, the part that they wrote for them, the part they wrote for others to play. And the interesting thing is we have a starring role, we have starring roles, and then we have what do you call it when you're the cast
Co-star.
co-stars and walk-ons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You
Uh-huh.
have all of those, but some of those walk-ons, most of them are all playing their own starring role
Yes.
in their own thing at the same time.
Yes.
So it's such entanglement. Entanglement. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you're starring in your own. You got bit players and co-stars and walk-ons and all that, and then the walk-ons and co-stars and bit players are all the star of their own, and so
Yes.
everything is all, which speaks to energy and everything being a part of everything.
Exactly. 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 There was someone, um, I might not be, it might not be correct, but this is who's coming to me. There's someone, I think maybe Shakespeare, who said the whole world is a stage and that we are merely players on that stage, or something to that
There was an
effect.
old song that probably took from that Shakespearean quote because it says, "The whole world is a stage." Remember,
Yes,
everybody
exactly. Yes,
playing a part. It says the stage is
yes,
set, the curtains go. It says the scene is a broken heart.
yes,
That
yes,
probably came from
yes,
that
yes,
quote.
yes.
It is. And then we saw the movie The Truman Show, which proved, which was a hint.
Uh-huh.
Listen, smile. You're on candid camera. Your
Uh-huh.
life is a part being played. It's
Yep.
not so much what you being done to you. It's the part you're playing. It's the role you're playing. You look at TV all the time and don't realize that our lives are the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're from some
Mm-hmm.
perspective being viewed and
Mm-hmm.
reviewed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
Yes.
so some
And
people.
we have a tendency sometimes to take this as being the end all and the be all because it's tangible.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. But I want people to take away from this to the fact that they should not be afraid of something that it's natural. It's going. If you can't
Well,
escape.
there are going to be times when fear is going to be there because we're actually physically wired for fear in terms of the brain, the amygdala, and how it energetically sends nerves down to the adrenals so that if we are in a situation where we need to run because we're being attacked or stand and fight, we got the adrenaline to do that.
Right.
But we are also in times when that is used to have us control and do things in a certain way. And it's being able to, if possible, take a step back and say, am I being attacked? Am I, it is, am I, is something coming after me? And then even if those things you're getting no, but you're still feeling the fear, sometimes you just got to do things scared. And then going through the process, you're like, oh. Well, I really did not need to be afraid because I was not being attacked.
Right. But the um, fear is such a it has such a real, sense
Of course.
it creates, like you
That's
said, the
it's
adrenaline. You don't have to. You almost had a head on, but you missed
yeah, yeah.
the
And it's
adrenaline.
intended that way
Right. And so
in
after
terms
it,
of
right,
control.
because
Yes.
after the fear, after the danger is past, you got to now get your body and mind out of that. You got to get that adrenaline where it needs to be and not flowing off through your body, like, for fight or flight, because
Yeah.
I mean, I literally had fears that when I got out of it, I felt sick to my stomach.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Oh
oh my God,
yeah.
it really didn't happen, but I feel like it did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't tell you the number of times. It wasn't like, oh, okay. All right, yeah. No, yeah, when I left teaching, hell yeah, I was afraid. When I started my own practice, yes, I was afraid, and other instances as well. But it's a matter of recognizing that and remembering that we have help and that we're not going to be led into something that is going to destroy us if we trust and work through with unconditional love.
Okay.
It's a
So
process.
let's that's going to be hard for some. Some
Yeah.
people have some people have had so many disappointments, so many hurts, so many letdowns, that or they're finding out, that they've just recently found out, or they found out over the last few years that they're not African American, Negro, black, colored. They've been, they found out that, the Plymouth Rock landed on them and all the different things, that their birthright's been stolen, all that. Angry as hell. Angry.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying that through in spite of it, we have to learn how to unconditionally love. Who are we supposed to be loving?
Ourselves, unconditionally loving ourselves, saying that was yes, we are a work in progress. And yes, we go through periods of anger, sadness, fear, frustration, joy, but it doesn't mean that we're worthy of love when we have achieved this, or that we should now be available to receive love when we have that, because then we're putting conditions on it. It's no, unconditional means yes, I am a work in progress. I scratch my butt, I have boogies up my nose, but I am worthy of love because I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And I have help and I know it. And
Wow.
when my humanism comes through, but I know I have help.
And I think, I guess that folks need to know that too. You have help, that there's help. Help is not just necessarily on the way. Help is here. You just have to recognize it, right? You
Yeah,
just have
yes.
you.
Yes. And if a person goes through their whole life and they don't recognize it, it doesn't mean that they have lost, because there is the opportunity to review and try it again in a different way, in a different location, under different circumstances.
Now, are we talking about review in this lifetime, or are we talking about in between lives?
Both, both.
Say
Because
somebody, we want to change now. We don't want to go anywhere necessarily, but
yeah,
one wants to just start all over, or kind of try to wipe the slate, erase some things, or
many times we have these wake up calls when we see certain experiences that other people are going through that say, oh my goodness, that's me. That's me. And then from there, decide, do I look like that? Am I going to become that? Not necessarily, but it's just like a wake up call to say, yeah, there is an opportunity to do things differently if you choose. If you choose.
So if one comes to you for body talk, but they also say, I really I need someone who can help guide me, through the process of making positive changes in my life. Do you offer that type of service, or are you strictly, well, do you need, I know you do, you still do the nutritional analysis and so forth?
As needed. As
Okay.
needed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if someone just says, I like the way you talk, but I think I can sit and talk to you almost like you're talking to a therapist. Do you provide those types of services?
If a person is in need of a therapist, I have referrals, because I'm not a one-stop shop. There are folks that I refer to for even for the herbs. I'm familiar with them. I know them. There was a time when I would share them, but if a person needs certain herbs and herbal formulas, I say, here, you need to call and talk to, because it's building community and that we help one another, so that there are many, many resources needed. It's hard for me to say, I'm going to do this or do that, because it really depends on the person and what their needs are. And it's
Right.
not what they think they need. What they need is the energy within their body that says this is what they need. And I go by that.
And then whatever follow-up they need, whatever, if you provide it, then fine. If it's one of your colleagues that you refer them to for that, that's
That's right. Person may need acupuncture. I have
right.
someone for that. A person may need Reiki. I have someone for that. A person may need counseling, therapy. I have someone for that. Someone may need massage. I have someone for that. So that it's community,
Right, right.
and it's not one-stop shopping.
Well, that's good, because sometimes we can overdo it trying to be all things to all people, and you can't. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you want to stay in your strength and be able to give your clients the very best of the best that they require for whatever it is that's going on with them. Um,
exactly.
but like I said, I think and in this last half an hour, I don't know, there have been a few comments, but if anyone has any questions for Dr. Ali, now would be a good time to pose those questions so that I can ask and we can see if it's something that she or her folks, and
Ah.
or her folks will answer, right? So
uh,
the thing of it is, though, I love the study of metaphysics. My my own life path was, going from being in traditional religion, and then having
mhm.
that wake up and then being here now. Um, and I just realized that not just this minute, but I had to realize that I wrote the script. I wrote the time when the change would come. It didn't just happen to me. It was in the plan that I maybe did not
That's right.
recall.
But
Looking back on it now, I realized that it was just like the alarm went off, and
you
it was like,
followed through, and that was
right,
the key. That
right,
was the key.
and many folks who are on this journey, even like I said, of nationality, birthright, and so forth, the alarm went off. Because
Hmm.
it's not like things hadn't been said. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was over 100 some years ago, was telling us who we were and so forth.
Hmm.
And these voices, they seemingly, for many of us, were silenced. I was complaining. I was like, nobody knocked on my door and told me I was a Negro, black, and colored. Why not? Why get all tied up in all this? I was mad. I was angry. So I was angry because I wanted to, I wanted to know why, there was no evangelistic work for me as a Moorish American. But then I realized everything happens in divine time. Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
divine time. I have a question here. Roxy Bay asks, how do we get a consultation? Well, Sister Roxy, you see email, you see, and you see the website here for Dr. Ali. And it's right here at the bottom of the screen under our pictures. So you can
Yeah, I encourage people to go to the website because it does have a description of Body Talk. And this way, when and if and when, because one thing I don't do, I don't talk people into coming to see me. It's got to resonate within their heart. If they just want to review the website and ask questions, to have a conversation, to ask questions, that's fine. That's okay. And then they may decide, okay, I need some more time to meditate over this, think about it, whatever the case may be.
okay.
So,
And so on the website, is there? I think I remember seeing a contact number for appointments or something.
yeah,
It's
at the bottom, there's a link that a person can select. And even in selecting that link, it still doesn't mean that they got a schedule. No,
right.
it just means that they want to make that connection. And, just we just kind of go from there.
Well, I can say this for myself that, and for anyone listening, that Dr. Ali is an amazing woman to have a conversation with.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
you are very intuitive, and even like you say, you look at all her credentials, and even us talking about the times of your life, it was because of the result of a conversation that we had. But and she's had experience with it, so I'm glad you went in and shared. I wouldn't have brought up your husband, but you brought
Mm-hmm.
that up, so that was probably a pivotal point. And I knew that you understood or overstood the whole process in a way that was what would lift up a burden off of one's heart, who would have apprehension or fear around their own death or transition, and that of a loved one or friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that this conversation is timely still because so many are leaving here, you know,
Mm-hmm.
some in very tragic ways, but
Mm-hmm.
even still, when you know that it's a part of a plan and that it was nothing that you could have done to change it because it wasn't your plan, it, what I mean? It brings you some peace. So some people are like, if only I had, not if that was the way in a
No,
time when
you
somebody
can't change anybody else's. But
changed that.
one thing that I learned from that experience with him is that I wanted, even though I may not know when my transition is going to take place, I have direct influence over the circumstances by which it will occur. And I asked my folk, I said, help me, assist me. I said, I do not want to transition out of here out of illness where I'm sick and decrepit and I'm not, no, I want to be able to maintain my health to the fullest extent that I possibly can. And my exit is when my work is done and it is peaceful and it's smooth. Whether, like I said, whether I'm asleep and I step off, or if I'm sitting down watching TV and I'm step off, and it's not age related that I can only live to be up to 85 and then I'm going to die. Or yeah, no, 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 no. That it's really truly connected with my mission, purpose, my focus and flow, and that I have an influence over the way in which things take place. Even though I may not know the timing right now, and if I don't know the timing right now, it means that it ain't time right now. But when the time when the time does come, I'll know well in advance. Well in advance.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
well in
I
advance. Because
I keep telling people like I've been saying for the last almost 7 years, I'm gonna be here till I'm 120, and I was
I told folks that too. I said 125, anywhere
yeah,
between 120, 125. I said, but you know what? We'll see how, but I said the exact same thing.
yeah, and then that's unless I change my mind.
Yes.
Unless I
Yeah.
change my mind. So I mean, I know an individual tells me they're going to be here till they're 89, and they're
Mm-hmm.
89, and I'm out. I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
happens if you hit 90 and you're still here? What are you going to do? Commit
Yeah.
suicide, or what are you going to do? Well, have to extend the time thing. But I just think that we should be more lighthearted regarding that, and just figure out what it is our purpose is in this incarnation, and that's
Yes.
what, and not so much maybe worry about when it's going to end. And I think
Yeah.
that would be the worst thing, to go through a life and know that you had not fulfilled your purpose.
Exactly. Exactly. And by focusing on purpose, it really helps to shift the energies away from the fears that a lot of people have in terms of the transition. And when am I going to, and is it no, focus on what you are doing while you are here.
And one of the things that I recently saw that someone posted that I thought was very interesting was a list of things that we need to do, like things like if you had a home, if you have a bank accounts and so forth, to have someone on the account as the, you know, you know, yeah. So
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Well, you're just all rocking all in my world. Okay. So I have a very close friend who is an attorney, and part of what she does is she works on intellectual property in terms of trademarks, things like that. And she trademarked my excuse me, my practice name of Earthly Essence, as well as my become the master of your own healing. My I forget what you call that. And now she has merged into estate planning, and I am doing that right now. And sometimes many folks are like, oh my God, I got because they, for whatever reason, they think that if they work on that and do that, it's going to mean that things are going to happen sooner. And no, it doesn't. It means that you are building a foundation for how you are going to have things transferred if and when. And it's also building a foundation for wealth so that you can add to it and then make the adjustments rather than making it from a sense of transition, poverty, death, whatever you want to call it.
and then leaving a confusing state for your, you know, those who are left
Yeah,
behind,
who don't, yeah,
fight
yeah,
and struggle and do whatever, or putting things into the hands of probates and stuff. But you don't want that stuff. You don't. You want,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. So when she approached me about it, because she needed someone to be her excuse my French, but her test dummy, and I'm like, yeah, sure, come on, let's do this. And she told me what her charges would be. We worked things out and payment plan and all of that, and it's ongoing. It's an ongoing process. And I am grateful because this way I ain't got to figure stuff out. It's already written up, lined up, and it's like, boom, here it is.
What you, even to the extent of, you can begin to write your story, which is still in progress, so that when it comes time for someone to say who you are and what you've done, they're not going to have to scratch their head and put together anything haphazardly, or
We
you get
just
your
did
word.
that. We just did a recording 2 weeks ago where she had me talk about my life in terms of my values and that I wanted to pass on. There she had a questionnaire that helped guide things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we just did that. Yeah. And
Yes.
then at another point, we'll make update it and so forth.
So yeah, these are just some things, to realistic things to do, to especially if you have children, you know, or multiple loved ones that might, whether you're going to stay here for, until, next year or for the next 50 to 100 years, you still want your wishes and your plans and your kinfolk to be taken care of in the manner in which you selected, and you want as little, if none, of your assets to go into, the so-called government's hands. You want to be able to have that stuff set up, trust, or living will, living the trust. You
Yes.
want to do that, and stop trying to put it off, like you said, and thinking that if I don't do it, then I can stay here longer. Not necessarily.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And you know what? And it also helps to uh, uh, minimize, not eliminate, but minimize some of the backfighting that takes place when a person transitions and, well, I'm supposed to have, and I'm supposed to get, and I'm the one no, just eliminates that.
Yeah, your wishes, whatever you want, and
Hmm.
it's a work in progress. So
Yeah,
you have to keep on adding to it, and
absolutely.
you might
Absolutely.
even have to take
Definitely.
from it because you might get rid of an asset, But right now,
Yes.
this is what it is, you know.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. 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 Yeah.
I just think, having a body talk session, it sounds like a very interesting way to have your body, do the talking, and then have a practitioner such as yourself to be able to say, okay, as a result of what your body says, then this is what your next steps are. This
Yeah.
is
And one of the things that I enjoy about Body Talk is that it's not focused on symptoms. As humans, we're very symptom driven in terms of where we're feeling pain, discomfort. That's how we're wired. But with Body Talk, the focus is the cause. What's causing certain things? What's causing certain responses, reactions within the body? And I cannot remember a time in the years that I've been doing this that emotions were not a part of it.
normally
They're
is.
always a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's helping the body to release it. The body knows how to do it. It's just sometimes it needs help.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and and like you said, there's different methodologies to get there.
Mhm.
The thing I do doesn't, and when it gives me recommendations, oh, okay, chiropractor, you need some adjustments, you need this. I'm not a
Yes.
chiropractor, so
Yes.
yeah, but I can recommend, like you said, a chiropractor,
Yeah.
or like you said, if you need some acupuncture, or you need to, take vitamin K and vitamin A because it'll tell you what your
Yeah.
body is. It's the same thing. The body is talking. The emotions are talking.
Yes.
The
Yes.
frequency of who you
Now,
are.
tell me about what you are just referring to? Because I got my pen and paper and I'm taking my notes.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
When you were referring to um, being able to tell the person's body about chiropractic services and stuff, were you referring to something that a service or something that you do, that you offer that can handle that?
Yes, yes, I was. Yes,
That's what I'm. Yes, yes.
yes,
So
yes, yes, I
can
was.
can you share a little bit more about that, please?
Um, that's the AO scan, and we just actually have something new that came up. We just had a day of discovery, and people, weren't able to travel to Utah to this year, this time,
Hmm.
to see all of the advances in the technology and so forth. But we were able to do it virtually, And so one of the things that they've added, I'm going to probably share that with you because you're a practitioner. I have a way of allowing you for 3 days to experience that as a practitioner. Something they just offered. So we'll talk about that. But the AO scan, what I'm doing right now, I'm doing scans. A couple of folks well, several have actually reached out to me for information. And for the month of March, because it's my solar return month, I'm going to be
All
67
right.
in
All
2 days.
right.
So
Yes,
2 days. And
that's
so
your new year. That's
that's
your
my
new year.
new year. And
That's
so for
right.
the month of March, I'm offering this because of the uniqueness of the information and the
Yeah,
fact
I'm
I
seeing
can
it
do
there.
it. I can do it remotely. It's
Uh-huh.
I don't the client that I saw on Sunday, I went to her home, but I could do it just as easily remotely. And they're able to get that information about their body and and it's tied to the emotion and it's tied to the physiology and it's tied to the the what we call vitals is looking at blood and urinalysis and allergies and parasites and all of that stuff. And then but it's also tying it into the emotions because there are a lot of things that are going on with the emotions that present themselves in other ways. And then we also have what's called a comprehensive, which is looking at the body, the joint, the organs, the joints, the
Mm-hmm.
chromosomes, the DNA. We even look at in the vitals, we're looking at the chakras and the meridians and what
Yes.
various chakras, the body parts, the parts of the body that those chakras, control. Because a lot of times we
Yes.
just your heart chakra is out of, it's not balanced. But then you don't know. Do you know the various organs that heart chakra controls, or what those indicators are? So it's not just I'm using a pendulum and I'm getting a reverse spin at the heart, so I can. But it's like, what is that affecting?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it
So
goes
it's
down
really getting a bigger picture.
right, and so then it
Yeah.
goes in energetically on what we call when when you optimize a scan and it goes back in and says whatever I can balance or fix, it fixes or it balances it. So it's amazing. And then they get a printed report. One called Body Systems is 27 pages. It's
Mm.
intense, getting down to every system, circulatory, lymphatic, this it goes all the way down the row and gives them what's going on, ties it to emotions, and ties it to recommendations, and it's amazing.
So if I text scan 50 to the phone number that's on the prompt, then that's going to help me make that connection to have that work done.
Yeah, yeah, or else I'm going to give you some information so you can get your own. Somebody like you need your own.
Well, I want to have it, I want to experience it first
Well,
because I can't, one thing I've learned is that I can't do it all. I don't want to do it all. That's what I was just saying. I want to be able to say, hey, contact, and
okay,
this way, but if it's something that I am to do, then
then your
I'll
then
know.
your folks will tell you.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Your
They
folks will let
will.
you know. Your
They
folks will let you
will.
your
Yeah.
folks will let you know. But like I said, we have been so conditioned to, just having these, I guess, Western medicine to tell us what's going on. And one of the things we found out with this when I first started learning about this energy technology, that by the time the blood is drawn for lab, when the air hits it, it loses maybe 65% of its efficacy in
Mm-hmm.
giving you an accurate report. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a system that can read it energetically in its natural state, still flowing through the veins,
Mm-hmm.
now you've got a higher, the resonance for that, and the efficacy level is so much, 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 much higher.
Yes. See, that's
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we going.
everybody, but I like I said, I can see, even though you don't, put yourself out there as a therapist in the way of laying on the couch. Like I said, y'all, I can see going to Dr. Jacquilen, Dr. Ali, and just getting on the couch and just talking and just having you and your folks. So see, she got a team that
Yeah,
works with her, an unseen team
yeah, yeah.
that works along with her. and gives her the insight into, what's going on. And like I said, I experienced that just talking. And I mean, you brought so much confirmation to things some of the things we talked about and I will leave it unspoken about, but so much confirmation. And I knew I knew somebody was telling you something, and it wasn't me.
Exactly.
So I knew it wasn't me. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
You too. I
hoping,
appreciate you too. I so appreciate being here.
I
Yes.
yeah, I just hope that those who are listening and have listened to tonight they are really feeling, felt the love and the energy and your love. You have such a beautiful spirit, such a
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Like I said, I can literally say this is the absolute first time I have sat and watched one of my guests and seen an aura like I'm seeing
Wow.
around you, and you don't see it, right? You don't see it in the space.
No, no.
Yeah,
I see the Egyptian pictures behind me
yeah. No, I'm not.
from when I went to
I'm
Egypt. That's what I see. The
yeah,
sconce on the
and
wall.
I have to try sometimes for doing aura reading. I was like, dang, there I'm seeing it, and it's your heart chakra that is really expansive, really
Wow.
expansive. So anybody, I don't know if anybody out there, has that ability to see auras around folk, but a lot of times, it is such a
Thank you. Thank
it's
you.
refreshing, and it's like my folk is telling me, see, yeah, you can see because we show
You can, yeah, you can see it. See, it's there.
and
It's there. You
see
can
it,
do it. We'll help you develop it. We'll
and that's
help you go further.
right. So I love the fact that they will help, right?
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. How they will help, it really depends on what that person needs and the willingness and the openness that that person has. So they're not going to take you from here to the moon if you're not ready to go there. They
Miss
will take you where you're
Here's
ready to go.
Shauna Dark L. She says, yes, Dr. G, I see it too. For those who can see, see,
All
yes,
right.
yes. And that's what we need. You talk about unconditional love. Well, yeah, we can feel the love. We can see the love rather, and coming from you and whatever reason our the team, the group, the folks, brought this together. And I want to say give thanks to Sister Anetta.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Mwah.
Sister
Yes.
Anetta, for hopefully she's on here. If she's not, you want
Yes.
to tell her to turn towards the end where give her thanks because
Gave a shout out.
the universe uses folks to connect people. I pride myself on being
Yes.
a connector. And then people call me up every now and then and say, have you heard of this one? And when she shared with me how talking to you and what how it had helped her, I said I need to connect with her.
Oh,
And I think we
thank you.
talked for like what an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So, it's just beautiful.
uh-huh.
And it is important that we are in tune to our
Yes.
higher self, to our spirit guides, our ancestors, our
Yes.
our folk,
Yes. Our folk. Yes.
our folk,
Yes. Yeah.
whoever it is that is coming in for peaceful purposes, to
Mm-hmm.
and to let them do what they do, let them help us. But we have to, like you said, we have to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
cannot invade somebody's or go against somebody's free will.
Exactly. And if we don't ask, they're not going to say, well, why don't she ask it? What's wrong with her? And no, they just said, okay, whenever we're here, we love her anyway. We'll still help in a way that can be beneficial, that won't interfere with her free will, but it's not, she's gotta under these conditions. No.
So there might be just subtle, not little things that like nudges and so forth that
Coincidences.
coincidence. Okay, okay. and then eventually we look back and then we see it.
Or we get this, something told me, something said I should, blah, da, 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 da.
Look, here's a couple others. Zilla next text. Please, I apologize. I'm messing up your. Says no lie. I see her aura too. Silmaya Mecca Bay 13 says yes. I see her aura as well. Her energy is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we see.
Yeah, thank you. But know that I have my humanisms like everybody else.
Listen, we all do.
I just work through them and just keep it moving.
And we all do. I mean, because I want to be. I like being myself. And every now and then, so like I think we were talking, and you said something. You said, "Oh, excuse me," and I was like, "No, thank you." You may. I want to be me too. You know what I mean? And my mom and grandmom used to call that putting on airs. You don't want to be putting on airs.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to be putting on airs. You just want to be yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Because we think if somebody sits straight and they speak very dignified, that there's somehow they're better than the ones who just like yo. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm a comedian. I'm a funny person. Around my house, my husband just sometimes just wants me to say that silly thing that I say, or I saw a commercial or saw something. I think it was a TikTok, and it was a cat on the TikTok. I have a cat, and this cat, you know how they make things look like they're talking or something, and the cat's eyes got big as saucers, and the cat goes, "What the hell?" So I gotta be the "what the hell" cat all the time because he wants to laugh. You see what I'm saying? But I'm saying that's the crazy side of me. My funny things but when I'm here, y'all, and Dr. I try to be just to, but I really sometimes want to say things that I was like, nah, I'm not gonna say it that way because
yes. And I'm like, look, guys, help me. Because my humanism is coming in a certain, help me say it in a way that's loving and that it's needs to be said in the way that they hear it.
Right.
Even if it's just planting a seed that will grow at another point in time.
That is true. That is true. That is so true. Well, listen, let me see if there are any more comments. Thank you. Okay. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, this has been great. Oh, you know what? I'm a little my solar return last year we were able to have a little get together online. But this year my solar return is falling like 2 days after my day to be online and 1 day before Grand Chic is on Friday.
Okay.
So we're not gonna. My sister Cynthia L's like, we have to do something. Well,
she's right. Yes.
Well, here's the thing. I said to her, I do not want to plan my own solar return celebration. I have a lot of loving folks that love me. I said, but everybody sees me as the one that plans everything. So I absolutely refuse. And so I even called my sons, and my son said, I said, what do you have planned? And they said, oh, I don't know. I said, see, that's why the difference between sons and daughters. Daughters would say, oh, it's my mom's birthday or solar return. Sons are like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's just that. So sister Cynthia, I know you wanted to do something, and I didn't want to do anything today because it's not my solar return yet. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I didn't want to do anything after the fact because it won't be my solar return. But I wanted to have this, this particular, I wanted to have you on here because I knew that we would have a great time and that the information. So this is a good gift for me.
Wonderful. And I can't, it's amazing how the time just went by. It's like, boom, done. Wow.
Yeah. It's like 2 hours going in. So what I did is, if you guys, I'm going to be shameless. I'm just going to shameless plug on here. Happy solar 67th solar return, Dr. G. And there's my Cash App.
All
So
right, all right.
there's my
Yeah,
cash app. So if you want to send $1 or $2, you can certainly do that. Or if you want to send a
yeah.
card, you have to get the address to House of Reawakening Minds. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put up my little promo for chokeberry juice, and which is going pretty good with this product. And I'm going to invite you to come back again.
Oh, thank you. I
But
look forward to it.
in the meantime, you and I will be talking, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get together. And since we're so close, and I'm looking to do a Dr. Botanica and I were talking about a holistic fair sort of thing at the House of Reawakening Mind, just looking for some dates, and hopefully can have you be a part of that.
Oh, I
Because
would love to. Because to be honest with you, when I found out that you were a Moor, I'm like, oh my God, my folk, where, because I feel like sometimes that I'm an island and it's just me. But to know that there are others, yeah,
oh, we everywhere. We on all of the continents and everything.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right
Well,
around in here. I mean, it's I'm probably like one of three and don't know I'm left. I'm kidding. No,
no, I understand. I understand. That's what I'm saying. I
yeah.
understand.
The
I
problem
understand.
is that we don't come together as much as we.
Yet.
Yeah, there was a
Yet.
time when there was more togetherness, and I think we're coming back to that. So
Yes,
that's what
absolutely.
we're looking to plan some events for
Mm-hmm.
before the maybe during the summer and the early
Yes.
fall. We had a couple
Yes.
last year cut up close and personal, but we're also looking to do some holistic events.
Yes.
Because we believe the mind, body, spirit aspect of us has to be just as much a focus as nationality and birthright. So we'll have all that.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have both so that we can do both. But
Yes.
I just want to say that it has been a I'll just read some of these quotes. Yeah. So we need unity. We certainly do. I appreciate you. And yeah, y'all, whoever was asking about Grand Chic, he will be here on Friday. He will be here on Friday. His Friday is coming up. But this is Dr. G's office hours on Tuesday. So don't come here looking for Grand Chic on Tuesdays. He's not here on Tuesdays. He's here on Fridays, first and third Friday, y'all.
Wonderful.
So with that, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. Truly, truly, truly grateful for this opportunity, this experience. Thank you. Much love to you and to your viewers, colleagues, and so forth.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna just go out with a little banner. I got a little promo that I do. So
okay.
We're just gonna let this. You can
I'm
stay
gonna
on.
I'm gonna watch the banner. Watch the.
You can stick here. You can stay on. Okay. All right. Here we go. Dr. G here, just checking to see if you've ordered your Chokeberry Plus. What? You don't know what Chokeberry Plus is? Oh my. It is an amazing berry that has the highest ORAC level of most berries known to man. Actually, it's a step higher than elderberry and is much, much higher than berries such as noni, goji, and mangosteen. What is chokeberry, you ask? Well, chokeberry is an antiviral, it's antioxidant, and it's an immune system boosting berry. It also provides support and balance for the blood pressure, the blood sugar, and cholesterol. Yeah, in one little dose that you would take a day that's very pleasant tasting, like a glass of fine wine, you are going to provide yourself with a lot of protection, especially in these times that we're living in. Like I said, it's antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory, among the balanced support that it provides for the blood sugar, the blood pressure, and the cholesterol. You want to know how you can get yours? Sure. Just text CB3L to 302-345-0500, and we'll shoot you out an order link. You want to get yours today, especially these times we're living in. We need some added support and protection. So I highly recommend Chokeberry Plus. And let me say this. Chokeberry Plus, and the chokeberry is also what's known as the aronia berry, but all of the chokeberry products out there are not created equal. We've got probably the best tasting, and you'll feel it the moment it hits your taste buds, and it actually does some things as soon as it hits your mouth. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's going to be good for you, good for your family. You can get a 60 serving 3-liter box shipped out within 2 to 3 days, and it'll come by priority mail insured. So again, text CB3L to 302-345-0500 and get your chokeberry today. Peace.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. 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 Dr. G. Really?